Welcome to the So Lux Life podcast, where our goal is to enhance the mental, physical, and spiritual luxuries in life. Make your life luxurious through knowledge, coaching, training, and technique. Visit us online at SoLuxLife.com. Here's your host, Krispin J. Watson.
Hey, you guys, and welcome to the So Lux Life podcast. I'm so excited that you all are here. I'm here with Judge Carlos Moore. He is the president-elect for the National Bar Association for 2021. Congrats to him on that. So thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Krispin.
I'm glad that you're here. So many people are excited to see you today. You've done so much in the community and in Grenada and just in the world in general. And for the people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. How was life for you growing up?
Well, I'm a native of Moss Point, Mississippi, so I'm a native Mississippian. I was there the first 20 or so years of my life, and I finished public schools there. I finished at Moss Point High School in 1995. I was very active in high school and throughout my secondary education. And so I finished there as a salutatorian and as a student body president. I left there and went to the University of South Alabama. I was originally pre-med, but by my junior year, I had decided that I would go to law school instead of med school. And so I took the LSAT and was admitted to Florida State University College of Law. And I went there and matriculated there in 1999, finished in 2002. And I've been in Grenada since 2001. Actually, I visited the University of Mississippi Law School for a year before graduating. And I've started practicing in Grenada and I've been here ever since.
So you kind of love it. You kind of made that your home. Do you see yourself leaving Grenada ever?
Well, I never say never. Grenada is home now, and I do have ambitions of serving the nation in some capacity, and so we'll see where that takes us. If we have to go to D.C. one day, we'll go to D.C.
Hey, we're going to go to D.C. in 2024. I'm trying to speak it into existence. We got to get you in there. So what are any obstacles that you've had growing up, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I've always been a man of faith. I was raised in the church. My parents had us in church day in and day out. I think we went to church probably 6 out of 7 days a week. So my faith has been very much part of me and has gotten me through every challenge and obstacle in life. I'm a first generation college student, first generation college graduate, first generation lawyer. So everything I've done, I've had to believe not only in myself, but believe in God and believe that God will see me through it. And so I take that strong religious foundation.
Oh, wow. So I kind of like how you kind of came in, you set the tone. You have a beautiful daughter. Your family is so precious. And happy birthday to your wife. Today is her birthday, everyone. So definitely say happy birthday to her. And we're not going to hold them too long. But just a few topics I wanted to talk about. And one being the removal of the Confederate Monument in Grenada, Mississippi. I'm from Grenada, for those that don't know. I actually used to work for Judge Moore back in the day. He actually gave me my first job. I absolutely loved it. And honestly, you encouraged me to want to be a lawyer. I went to school and majored in political science after working there. But so this issue is kind of dear to me. And honestly, I did know it was coming down. I always knew it was a Confederate statue because my dad would always tell me. So kind of what's your thought on that situation? And I have a video here that I'll show for those that don't know which monument I'm talking about.
Okay.
And this is just a live video of it being taken down.
There you go. Getting ready to get covered up. Slip a Jimmy on her.
And as we kind of watch here, we see different comments, different emotions expressed about this monument being covered up.
Okay.
Apparently, they put a tarp on it, and I've been seeing people all over the place about it.
Yeah.
Um,
I believe it was a great day when the chart was put over the Confederate Monument. I have long desired for that monument to be off the city square, the town square, and now to see it covered up and to see that it is scheduled to be removed in the near future, I could not be happier. Things are just tumbling down. The flag is down. The state flag having that Confederate emblem went down at the end of June, early July, and so it's been down about a month and a half, almost 2 months now, and so things are just looking brighter in Mississippi in that aspect. And so I'm glad that the city council did what they had to do and finally voted to take it down on the square. And I believe it's the right thing. People will get over it. I don't see why you would memorialize and almost worship a losing cause. I mean, the South, they lost the war. And so the only flag that should be flying is a white flag of surrender. And the only monuments that should be up are monuments to the people that won the war. I don't see why we're celebrating losers. So I'm happy.
I definitely agree with you on there. And I don't understand. This has been happening all over the world. So for this particular monument to be taken down, I don't know why people took it as such a shock, I guess. I guess people are speaking out of emotions because it was actually happening here. But I'm definitely glad that it came down. Also, you mentioned about the flag. And I've been following your journey since forever. And you've been fighting for that flag for so long, fighting to get it to come down. And it's finally down. And honestly, you were the first person that I've seen like on social media or anything that has said anything about this flag coming down. So how did you feel about that? I watched the video. You were very emotional. What was going through your mind when they finally decided to take that flag down?
I really just thought, wow, dreams really do come true. I felt like a lone wolf in 2016 when I filed a lawsuit against the governor. I was my own lawyer. I was the plaintiff and the lawyer, and I took on the most powerful man in the state. But I knew that if God is on your side, you can be successful. And I knew I was going to make both a legal case and a moral case. And I'm glad to see that the moral case did win. We took the legal case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. It was not successful, but we had always asked and urged the governor and the legislature to do the right thing and take it down. And so they finally did it. When I first started the lawsuit, I also encouraged athletes to speak out. I told them, if you speak out and you refuse to play another down, that flag will come down much sooner than me just filing a lawsuit. And so I was so glad when Mr. Hill did so this year and spoke out against it at Mississippi State. And so when people did what we told them to do, requested them to do, I mean, it came down sooner than later. And then when the SEC and the NCAA got involved, it was just a no-brainer. That flag was going to come down. And so I'm happy my daughter does not have to live in a state where slavery is celebrated any longer. She will live the majority of her life under a new unifying banner, and I could not be happier. I'm proud to be her dad, and I believe she's proud that I'm her dad.
She is. She's going to be a future attorney just like you, working right there with you. As I confirm. But yes, that's definitely a great day in Mississippi when that happened. You know, when sports get involved, things do happen a little quicker. Do you think that the protests from the George Floyd situation sparked it coming down sooner or when it did?
I do think so. I think it was a combination of things because the SEC had tried things before, the NCAA had tried things before and had not come down. But I think a combination of the pandemics going on, the world was at a standstill. You had the coronavirus pandemic, then you had George Floyd being tragically murdered before our very eyes. 8 minutes and 46 seconds was just unheard of. He became the Emmett Till of our generation. Right. And so people had to do something. The young people got together and they had the largest march in Jackson since the 60s. And so the Black Lives Matter movement was very important. So it was a combination of factors that carried the day. The Speaker of the House had long been a fan of doing away with the flag, but our former governor and the lieutenant governor were not in favor of it. But this time, the Speaker of the House and the lieutenant governor both came on our side, and then enough legislators had a veto-proof majority where the governor had no choice but to support it and sign the bill. And so we were just elated, and I think it was God's divine plan. It came down in His timing, and His timing is perfect. And so we're elated. I would say that in Grenada, there is still a Jefferson Davis Memorial Highway. And so I'm not done yet. I'm going to urge our city councilman and our board of supervisors to change the name of that highway. Why does Jefferson Davis need to be memorialized in Grenada? He does not need a highway. We need something unifying. And so that's the next thing. Everything leads to a different, every round we go higher and higher. So until we are rid of all the things Confederate in Grenada, we will not rest.
We will not rest. We will not sit down. We will not stop speaking out. We will keep coming on air. We will keep doing broadcasts because we're in a generation now. Everybody's on their phone. It's so digital technology. So we really have to get out there and let people know what's going on. And that's one thing I do like about you. You keep it real with the public on your social media. You let us know what's going on. I learn a lot from you when I watch your live streams. I try to tune into those. But one thing, another tragedy has occurred again here in the United States. And this is kind of a sensitive subject for me because I have a Black son. And, he kind of just went viral on the internet. He's been all on national news and doing all of this from getting his arm stuck in the vase. Everybody's all, he's so cute, laughing, millions of views. But what happens when he grows out of that cute phase? When he becomes a threat just because of the color of his skin for him being a Black man. Jacob Blake, what's running through your mind right now? Like, here it is, 2020. We just got done protesting about George Floyd. Here we are again.
Yeah, it's like, when is enough? When will it stop? I mean, once we get over one killing, there's another shooting, and this time the man survived, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. I don't know if it's better to be dead or paralyzed. Who wants to live in a world where you cannot function and take care of your kids like you normally would? I mean, walking away from the police should not leave you paralyzed. I represent a young man out of Atlanta, Georgia, who's a quadriplegic. He's paralyzed from the neck down, was shot in the back several times by officers in Georgia. He has no quality of life, has to be taken care of. He's bedridden for the rest of his life. Is that living? Is that living? So it's just tantamount to being dead. And so my prayers go, and my thoughts and prayers go with Jacob Blake and his family. They have a long road ahead of them, all for what? I mean, walking away from the police. And so it's unacceptable. I'm glad to hear that the family is going to sue, but I mean, suing is not going to bring back his function of his legs.
It's not. So now he has to live paralyzed. He has to live suffering because he was walking away from the people that are placed out here to protect and serve. That's kind of what gets me. Who is policing the police?
Correct.
That's the question.
And I'm so tired of hashtags. Yeah, it's just, we have to do something different because they are not getting the message. I mean, we're protesting in the streets. There have been worldwide protests, and then you have somebody get shot 7 times in the back by cops. They have not learned anything yet, and so
they haven't.
Something has to give.
Something has to happen. The power of life and death shouldn't be in the hands of police at all. Anyone, like, that's God's doing. We're not.
Correct.
Who are we to kill an innocent man because he was walking away from you?
I can see he was attacking them or was some threat. He was no threat, and the law says you cannot shoot a fleeing felon. That's fleeing. It's no threat to you. I mean, even a misdemeanor, somebody suspected of a lesser crime, you definitely can't shoot him. And so I don't know why they shot this man 7, 8 times, and it's just unacceptable. But the law has to change, and police have to fear going to prison. They have to fear getting the death penalty, and they may stop at that point. But as long as they keep getting a slap on the wrist, this will continually happen time and time again. And so I pray for your son. I have a daughter. I want a son one day, but I'm almost happy that I don't have one at this point, because you never know. They could wake up one morning and not come home again because the police shot and killed him.
Or because he went and bought some Skittles at the grocery store,
iced tea,
hood on and came and walked home.
Yeah.
And you have people out here free and just walking around. And it's crazy because I did an interview with a podcast from the UK. And this was in the midst of the whole George Floyd, we're out here protesting Black Lives Matter. And this guy, he was Caucasian, and he was happy we got on the subject because they really didn't know what was going on over here. They were like, wait, so the police really shoot people? He said that he heard it was like the police is like war against America from the police. And I'm like, that's pretty much the world we live in. People are getting shot every day by the police. Nothing is happening. Breonna Taylor, they say, if you're not doing anything wrong, the police won't bother you, but she was asleep.
I don't
So
know.
what are we teaching our young men? We have to have those conversations. My son is only 2, but I still have thought about, like, okay, what am I going to tell him growing up about how to conduct himself in the midst of police, or what to do when he gets pulled over? Keep your hands on the steering wheel, like no sudden movements. Literally, like, don't even blink. So what are we doing to instill in our young men to, I don't know, because I really want to ask, what can we do to prevent this? But
It's going to take education, education, education. But sometimes they can do everything right and still come out dead. I mean, you can be sleeping in your car at Wendy's. I mean, who would have ever thought that you a threat to somebody by sleeping, even though if you're drunk, I mean, you're not harming anyone sleeping in the driveway. Just get them out safely, get them out the way. You don't have to kill them. And so, no matter what we do, if you're in your home and your bed, you can be killed. So it's just terrible. It's just a terrible thing. It seems at this point, a moment in time to be black. I mean, we're living in the best of times and the worst of times. You have a black female that's been nominated to be the vice president of the United States, and then you have these continual killings. So I just cannot explain the two. It's just two different extremes in America at this point.
it's baffling. It's really mind blowing. You really don't know who to trust. I've even gotten harassed by police when I've gotten pulled over before. So it's not just me. And I was having a conversation with a colleague earlier today, and these are 2 black men, and they were saying that they've been pulled over by the police, and like 2 or 3 times they've had guns put to their head. And I'm like, y'all gotta be kidding me. Like, no way this happened. They were like, yeah, like, I've been pulled over on my motorcycle. One guy said that the police told him, I'll run you off the road. Like, things like that. So what are we doing to change laws? What can we do as citizens to help change laws and stop this from happening?
We need to elect progressive prosecutors that are going to hold police accountable. If the prosecutors are in bed with the police, there's nothing ever going to change. These police officers need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. If the local DA or state attorney is not going to do their job, the state attorney general needs to come in and do their job. And then sometimes you need to take politics out the state attorney general's office. I believe Scott Cologne had recused himself over in Columbus, Mississippi, turned it over to Jim Hood, who was attorney general. He got an indictment of a white cop who killed a black young man. Then Lynn Fitch gets in there as the new attorney general, and she dismisses the indictment. So no one is going to stand trial for killing that innocent, unarmed black man in Columbus. And so that stinks to high heaven. So there's politics across the board. Politics needs to be taken out of the equation. We need to stand for justice and stand for what's right. We should not see color. We should see justice. Lady Justice should be blind, but she's anything but blind. She sees very well. She sees color, unfortunately. And when we stand before the justice system, 9 times out of 10, there's 2 sets of rules. And as a judge, I've tried to level the playing field. I try to be fair to all those that come before me. And that's why I took the flag out of my courtroom on my first day on the bench in 2017. I was not going to administer justice in front of a Confederate flag. That flag did not stand for justice. And so you have to be very sympathetic and empathetic to things that people may perceive, because perception is reality. And so you cannot trust a judge sometimes that is comfortable sitting in front of a Confederate flag.
No, it's actually it's a hostile feeling. It's like working in a hostile work environment, because I have to sit here and look at this piece of cloth that's reminding me of what you all did to my ancestors. And so, yeah, let's just not. I hate to see people act out and say that, they're going to vote the whole city council off for putting a tarp over this monument. Everybody can run. Everybody has the opportunity. So definitely get out there and make your voice heard. I voted today in our municipal elections that we had here. So if you're not registered, definitely get registered. November is just around the corner. He did mention that we do have a female that's running on the Democratic ticket. So ladies, let's, get out there and vote. we kind of make the world go round. So,
and as a judge, I cannot endorse any candidate. I can just encourage people to exercise your God-given right, your constitutional right to vote. Exercise your right and vote your conscience. I'm not endorsing anybody, but I believe that the right to vote is sacred. I mean, John Lewis and others, they fought so hard for the Voting Rights Act and give us the right to vote. Let's exercise it and may the best man or woman win.
yes, and we will be sitting right here to watch. And I do appreciate you coming on the podcast. I want you to be able to enjoy your wife's birthday today. Happy birthday to her. Tell her I said happy birthday. One other question, just for the young men out there. What is something that you would tell your 18-year-old self?
What would I tell my 18-year-old self? Never be afraid to fail. Nothing beats failure but a try. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. Most of my life, whatever I went after, I accomplished on the first try. I mean, it was just a cakewalk. But recently, I became the president-elect of the National Bar Association. We represent the interest of over 80,000 African-American lawyers and judges and law students. But I had to try 3 times. I ran my first election in 2016. Then I ran again and lost by 1 vote. Then I ran again in 2017 and lost by a few hundred votes. But I had the courage to come back and try the 3rd time. And on the 3rd time, it was a charm and I won. So if there's anything you want in life, never be afraid to go after it, no matter how many times it takes. Because if you refuse to quit, you will win. If you quit, you won't win. And so you have to keep going and keep the faith and know if you want it bad enough, it's yours. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. If you dream it, you can become it.
That's so inspiring, Judge Moore. I love that. Like I said, you've always inspired me. Just as a young person trying to elevate out here in society and just keep being amazing. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Keep fighting for us. Keep fighting for everybody. Keep fighting for what's right. I'll be looking for that highway to get his name changed. So
all right.
We're waiting on that one next. We'll have to bring you back on for that.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Krispin. It's always good to see you, and we're very proud of you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Judge Moore.